right. We want to be your #1 recruiting assistants. Coaches Suite helps coaches with the responsibilities and pressures of recruiting. We take all that off your plate and help get your student athletes recruited. We help student athletes from all over the place get recruited by coaches all over the place. So check us out at coachessuite.com and follow us on @coachessuite. All right, guys, super excited today. Been talking a little bit about back and forth with this guy for a little while now, trying to get him on the show, and we finally worked something out. So Brett Arkelian is our speaker today. He is a record-setting kicker and punter at Lincoln University and UTM. Currently the special teams analyst at Fresno State with previous stops at UT Martin, Marshall, Rice, Virginia Tech, and UC Davis. He's the author of the Kicker's Bible, Foundational Training, and of course my thing showed up in the way. Oops. Foundational Training used by pro specialists, and he's the creator and producer of the Iceman podcast. Brett, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for that introduction, Rob.
All right, I'm going to kick it over to you. You can start to screen share at any point.
Awesome. Well, thanks a lot again, Rob, John, everyone on here for attending. You know, I have been at a lot of different schools, and I can't tell you if that's a good thing or a bad thing. What I like to say is I can't keep a job, so that's a problem. But I'm lucky to have learned from a lot of great coaches, whether it's special teams or coaches, and I'm always looking to learn from new coaches. So you guys 100% give me your feedback. Tell me what you think, what you like, what you don't like, and I'm always excited to learn from you guys. Let me see here. All right. So I'm talking today about unlocking your specialist potential. And the reason why is we have to give these guys some form, some order, a schedule. All right. It's true. You guys have a ton of different responsibilities, and I understand that. For me, I like to learn from a lot of different coaches. PJ Fleck is someone that I looked up to, and he said he was king of the twos, too small, too short, too inexperienced. That was me when I played. However, what I was very detailed about the things I did. I created a schedule with myself, and I always tried to keep learning, keep gaining knowledge, and recording that knowledge. So eventually I put it into my book, shameless plug for the Kicker's Bible, which you can find on Amazon. But today I'm going to talk about just giving you guys a schedule for your specialists, and then how that applies and how you can use it with your guys. So here we go. The term I'm going to use a lot and often is simplify and amplify. Simplify and amplify comes from Dan Hawkins, who I got the chance to learn from and work with at UC Davis. And under that umbrella of simplify and amplify, I'm going to talk about BKE, which you'll see on your right. You might say, Coach, what is BKE? BKE is big kick energy. All right. Not to be confused with something else. But all three of those guys, Justin Tucker, Adam Vinatieri, obviously Pat McAfee, that confidence, that look in their face when they walk in the field, that no one can compete with them, that no one can hang with them, that if you're on the field with them, you're on their field. That is the confidence that we try to preach to our guys and instill in them every day. Doesn't matter if you're dealing with the worst kicker in the world, okay? You as a coach have to give him that confidence that he thinks when he's on the field, he's the best thing and the best one ever do it. Now, at the same time, he's got to be understanding that there's always room to learn and to grow. However, we preach about BKE with our guys. And then burn the ships. It's something you'll see on some of my presentations. It's good to have a culture driver or culture saying there. I love burn the ships. The story behind that, 1519. I'm a history guy. I was a history teacher. Hernan Cortez sails to the New World. Okay. And him and his men, they're distraught. They're tired. They have people that have died on the way, and they want to go home. And Hernan Cortez says, burn the ships. We're staying here. We're taking over this land. That's just a general culture driver for your special teams unit, for what we use to let people know that we are taking the ground that belongs to us. We are making full speed decisions, and there is no looking back at this point. You with me? Okay. What do great special teams coaches do to help their specialists, right? These are a list and array of a lot of great coaches that I've been able to learn from over my career. You'll see two of them. Coach John Baxter, who I'm with at Fresno State, was the 2011 Special Teams Coordinator of the Year. And then James Shebist at Virginia Tech was Special Teams Coordinator of the Year in 2008 and 2017. So these are guys I am lucky and blessed enough to learn from, among others. And there's a ton of great coaches here. What do? Well, they use their eyes. Okay, Randy Brown, you'll see on the bottom there, holding that Super Bowl trophy, coaches for the Baltimore Ravens. He said on the 4th down experience that he likes to think of himself as a caddy. Okay, this is a guy that works with one of the best kickers to ever do it. And he is still giving Justin Tucker input on a daily basis. Well, what is he doing? Is he telling him after every rep, hey, that wasn't a good kick, that was a bad kick? No, anyone can do that. Okay, what he's doing is being detailed and referring to his specialist and saying, hey, how can I make you better? You want me to watch your plant foot on this one? Okay, I'll give you input. But it's not a constant showering of mess and constant ideas, all right? Sometimes you have to let your kicker work through some things and then refer to people, talk to people, especially ex-specialists or your guys. I will be the first one to admit I was a kicker punter. I was not a snapper. And some of you guys are that way, or maybe you're the other way where you were a snapper, not a kicker punter guy. It's okay to check in with your players and say, hey, what'd you feel in that hit? You know, what was did you feel powerful? Did you feel strong? What are you struggling with? What do I need to help you with? What is your mental cue? What is your one thing that sticks in your brain and helps you succeed? All right. These are all things that you should use with your guys in order to see them be successful. So it's okay to ask questions. Now, granted, if you've had a kid, right, who hasn't worked with anyone and he's a younger kid who needs direction, then you'll be doing most of the talking. But you don't have to be an ex-specialist to check in with them and ask for their input. And then understand functional movement. The one thing that's happened here at Fresno State is I've gotten to learn from John Baxter, and he was an ex-PE teacher, and he just understands how the body works. Now let's think about punting, for example, okay? If you are punting and your feet are wide, right? Naturally, when you walk, your natural gait, what happens to your feet? They're going to naturally move closer and closer together, correct? All right. So the one thing we can't have for a right-footed punter is have that left foot cross over your body, because then what does that right hip have to do? It has to open and swing around your body. Everything we do in kicking, punting, and snapping is linear. You might want to write that down. Remember that. Everything we do is linear. So as I was saying, you don't want that body or your left foot to cross over your body, because then it makes you swing around. Okay. It's just understanding. You can use golf terms. You can use baseball terms. Understanding, explaining functional movement will help your players tenfold. Okay. Let's talk about the importance of special teams here. All right. As a special teams coach, as a special teams coordinator, you need to help convince your players. It won't happen right away. And especially at the high school level, you need to show them and tell them why this is important. Now, you guys might not get meeting time, essentially, but here's a study I did when I was at Rice in 2020 in order to hammer home to our guys. This is why special teams is important. We took the 4 best teams in the year 2020, all right, and their top 10 players on each team, all right, and we showed our guys, hey, the top 10 players in each team, Alabama, take a look at how many of their top 10 players played on special teams. 10 out of 10. Let's look at Ohio State, 8 out of 10. Let's look at Clemson there, 9 out of 10. All right, or I'm sorry, Notre Dame there, 9 out of 10. So every team, not only did the key players play on this unit, all right, the Heisman winner this season, Devonta Smith, played on punt return, and kickoff. All right. So the important thing, or kickoff return, the important thing is understanding that if your guys want to play at the next level, especially for us at the college level, even if he's a star at Fresno State, he's going to need to play on special teams in order to get a shot in the NFL. And that ability, that background of showing that he understands how to get off, a hold-up technique on punt, or he knows how to release as a gunner, or he knows how to lock someone up, or he knows how to avoid on kickoff. That goes a long way for your guys to play at the college level. So really stressing to them, no matter what, even if you're the exception in college is maybe if you're a first-round draft pick, right? Well, there's a ton of guys on this team, and I don't see a lot of first-round draft picks is an easy way to hammer that home. All right, so let's talk about specialists and their off-season schedule, because I get this question a lot. All right, the cool thing is, like, it's different for the pros. David Akers, he'll take off 2-3 months and I've been able to work with him and talk with him. He's an awesome guy. He'll take off 2-3 months until April until he really starts kicking again. Okay. It's a little bit different with you guys, maybe in Michigan, no spring ball. Okay. So you can take some time off. Out here, we got to be ready around, March and April to really start hitting some balls and being back up to speed. We waited until about a week or two before spring ball to really start kicking with our guys. So anywhere from 15 to 35 reps. The main thing, guys, is they're doing a repetitive motion over and over again. They need to take some time off to really let their bodies rest and rehab, or else they will have overuse injuries. Okay. 2 times a week from January, to February. In March through June, I'd recommend about 3 times a day, 30 to 40 reps. Now we're counting reps where they actually hit the ball. Okay. So in the off season, I'll talk about this, dry runs, which means you're just swinging without the ball. Those are huge. Definitely want to hit on those a lot. And then once we get through July through August, now we're really ramping our body up 4 times a week. And we're hitting 35 to 50 reps. I agree. You got to know your players, right? Every specialist is different. But this is, even for snappers, this is a good number to be at. Okay. And what's the focus? All right. The focus is fundamentals. Okay. Field goals down the middle. So Coach Tarmadal at TCU gave a talk in Houston 2 years ago, Special Teams Summit. And he came up with these numbers. In the NFL, the average field goal is from the 19-yard line or within that, 37 yards away. All right. So in the off season, our training looks a lot different. I'm having our guys, hey, you're 30 to 35 yards away and you're right down the middle. And I want to see good ball rotation and good height. I don't worry about hashes. I'm not trying to work on your steps in any different directions. I just want to see a smooth approach and good ball contact. Punters on a line every day, especially for high school kids. Man, I didn't realize this until I was a sophomore in college. And I really think my career turned around that season. I went from averaging, I think the first season was god awful. It was 32 yards a punt. They could have put a cheerleader out there and she would have done better than me. And then the next season, I was up to 42 yards before suffering an ankle injury. I think I averaged about 39, but I attribute a lot of that because I was walking the line and got super detailed with my steps. So that's definitely something. If you start working with your high school guys now, they will be above and beyond most high school punters. And then snappers, we're going to talk about your efficiency of your snap. So body control, flexibility, really anchoring or using that chin and that core to drive your snaps back. All right. Let me talk to you guys about off-season exercises. What should they be doing in the months from February to about June or July? All right. Well, 5 days a week. And this is something, again, working with Dave, we kind of came up with, and something he'd do with his son, which I thought was really cool. 5 days a week, they should be doing some full body stretch. You get out of the shower, you should be stretching, whether it's in the morning or at night, twice a day would be great. Dry runs. What are dry runs, coach? Dry runs are swinging. The whole thing with our swings, guys, just like a golfer, we want to get the same motion every time. And we want to be consistent with that, or like with Steph Curry, right? He freaking put it on those Kings today. And the reason is he has a simple yet effective shot. All right. We want the same thing from our swings, and specifically field goal kickers. We want the same motion every time. So as much as we can rep that over and over again, even without the ball, as much as we can rep that motion, the better, and make sure our steps are the same every time. Putting tape down at the exact spot where they took their steps back and over is really important. And then core stability, not just core. That's something I've realized this season working, again, referring to my guys. Hey, what do you think about this? We need to do some type of stability where either you put your hands out and someone's fighting your hands and you have to use that core muscles, right? Or doing a med ball toss and working on the rotation, using core strength. That's huge. 4 days a week, they should be doing some type of stadiums, or sprints, or change of direction drills. It'd be really good if they don't already do that with you guys. And then glute and hip work. There's some examples there, pictures there of doing different strengthening exercises for your hips and your glutes. 3 days a week, working on balance swings. So that's slow motion swings. If you see that blue pad there that I'm taking a knee on, squeezing that ball, just standing with your plant leg on that blue mat, and working on your balance and understanding proprioception, which is how your body or what muscles are used and controlled as you swing. Foundational training is some back or core exercises. And then 1 day a week, at least, you should be doing some type of yoga. So now we're in season. All right. Let me talk to you guys about specialist schedule in season. This is how I've done it. And this is how throughout my playing career, I kind of established this, this routine. And it's kind of worked for me. So again, check in with your guys, see how they like. What do you guys like doing first? Is it punt? Is it field goal? Is it holding? But just an easy way to look at it is on the right here. So before we start pulling our muscles, there's dynamic and static stretching, right? We need to dynamically stretch. So you need to get a sweat going. I tell my guys do 8 100-yard laps or 8 50-yard laps, or 4 times around the field to get that body warmed up and sweating. And then you can start doing some dynamics. Then you can start pulling on your body or static stretching. All right. And then from periods 1 through 4, so each period is 5 minutes. Periods 1 through 4, we'll do some type of dry runs. We'll work on our drops. Drops are huge. I'll talk about it here. We'll do a tackle drill, period 5. When I say warm-ups, periods 6 through 9, I like to do a lot of band stuff. So working on some ankle flexibility or ankle strengthening drills, because what is the most important thing for a kicker or punter to affect their field goal or punt? It's the contact, right? So anything we can work on to flex that ankle and get it strengthened is huge. So periods 6 through 9, we'll do either some type of warm-up drill, whether that's 1 steps, or we'll do some band exercises. And then periods 10 through 18, now you're getting your fundamentals. You'll see here, we'll kick across the field. Punt darts is a fun drill. We're just doing 1 steps, and we're just working on getting that ball to turn out and turn over. The difference for us, guys, was our special teams drills didn't happen until the middle of practice. This was a day when we only had 10 minutes. Special teams normally get 15 to 20. So we didn't have to be super ready by period 1 or 2. I've been at a lot of places where period 1 or 2, boom, we're knocking out our special teams. If that's the case, your specialists need to be getting out there 45 minutes before or more so than that. And then I love doing some situational stuff. So you'll hear this when I started playing. I was kicking. This was my junior year of high school. I began high school here in the Fresno Clovis area, and I was just kicking nonstop. And they're like, "You're gonna kick your leg off," and I'm like, "That's impossible." I pulled my quad the next day. So my whole point with that is there's got to be they can't kick for 2 hours straight. So that's why at the latter part of practice, situations is really cool. This is kind of something Shane brought up. He'd go through some dry runs or some situations with his guys. And they would do some, walk through some like 3-way alert. So you're on the 37-yard line. You give your guys a situation. Hey, it's 4th and 13. If we gain a couple yards, we might kick a field goal here. So we got to have the field goal team up and ready on the sidelines. If we lose a few yards, we're going to have to punt the ball. And then we might actually go for it if it's 4th and 2. So giving them different situations to put their heads in, I think is really good. And then some core and some sprints, and then some stretching or some yoga at the end of practice. By the way, guys, if you have any questions, write them down before I get to showing the video of some stuff at the very end of this PowerPoint slide. We can address some of that. Okay, so pre-practice warm-up. So here's some videos and some stuff that you guys can kind of look up on your own. I could show you guys a few of them. These are the titles on YouTube, but Chris Hughesby put this together. He's a coach out of Minnesota, and it's really good. It's something I like to do and show our guys. Can you guys see that YouTube video?
Yes, sir.
There we go. Okay, so again, a lot of dynamic stretches where they're moving their bodies side to side, Saigon squats, really making sure we're stretching out our calves, our hip flexors, our groins, because that's all really important. And a lot of rotational stuff too, I think is really good. So this is called the best warm-up for kickers, punters, and snappers. And again, if you guys want like the link to any of this stuff or the PowerPoint, just ask me at the end. That's fine. The other thing that I would do, I had a lot of problems with tendonitis, my groin and hamstring from overuse injuries. And this, shoot, coaches, do you guys have any back problems? Anyone got some back problems out there? This is, yeah, I know. I see it. You got some tight, sitting in your chair really tight. Okay. Eric Goodman Foundational Training is really good. It's 10 to 12 minutes. And he starts the video off by saying, if you do this once every day, you will never have back problems again. So any guys, any specialists or snappers with long, tight hamstrings or tight backs, this is some good stuff that you guys can do. Again, it's called Eric Goodman Foundational Training on YouTube. There's some yoga for athletes, for specialists and athletes on YouTube. That's also good. That's the cool thing is you don't have to have stuff written up or thought of for you guys. I mean, have your specialists bring their phones out there and they can use some of the stuff. And then there's an Instagram link here, this Instagram page called End Back Pain. And there's a lot of hip flexor and just good mobility stuff that's really good for your specialists. So we talked about some stretches that you can do with your guys. Okay. Now we're going to go over some drills. I know Coach, asked about the a field diagram and where do we work. Now it's interesting if you guys have two fields, right? You can just send your specialists off to another field. This is kind of how we do it. The punters and the kickers, if there's room, absolutely, like there's offense down here and defense down here, we will go on the middle and just punt across the line. Now what I've found out from studying field dimensions is if you put the snapper, if you're trying to hit a right directional ball, for any of you guys who punt directionally, you're on the right hash and you're trying to hit to the outside of the numbers. If you put that snapper on the 50-yard line, 15 yards away would be where the outside of the numbers would be. So working that, telling your punter, hey, I want you, if you're standing on the 50, hit the ball to the 35 down here. He can work a right directional punt and then left directional too. You have the punters, you can punt them down to the kickers on this side. Kickers have their sticks, hit them back. What I'm going to encourage you guys, I know it's not easy for the high school level, but as much as you can work with your holders, snappers and holders to work on that timing, work on the kicker not seeing the ball or maybe, from different hashes, that's really good to help your kicker train and get comfortable for a game-like situation. So if we get room, we go down here, maybe we'll try to hit the goalpost, work across the field, and then we'll do kickoffs down the field. So here, that's an example of a diagram. So now I'm going to show you some of the drills. All right, we're going to talk about punt. And I've got some video here. Let me know if you can hear the sound here.
No forward involved, just all catch mold.
Can you guys hear that, Coach 𝐾𝐫𝐚𝐜𝐭? Yep. Okay, good. So this is our punter, Carson King. He's talking about drops. This is the first thing we'll start out with every day. Buccaneers punter, Bradley Pinion, said he'll do 150 to 200 drops each day, guys. This needs to be hammered. And why I like to hammer it with our guys is you're not wasting any reps. The problem is when guys go out there, they don't really warm up, and then they just start swinging. They're like pitchers. You're on a pitch count, all right? So you have a limited number of reps, and you're going to go out there, not drop, not be fully prepared, and you're going to waste my reps. Not going to happen, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is have him take a knee, and Carson's going to talk about doing drops on a line.
No forward involved, just all catch mold, drop it on the line.
So what he's trying to do is get that ball on the outside of his hip to the proper drop location and drop it. We're going to do at least 50 reps here. He might catch the ball a little high, a little low, but he's still going to get to that same height, about a little bit above the waistline. Okay. Now we're going to talk about catch and mold. So catch and mold and then full speed drops is our next progression. You can't really, it's hard to tell here with Carson moving pretty fast, but what we're doing is we're snapping him the ball. He's going to catch and get it to his proper drop location. He's going to take a second, pause, so he can really see, hey, this is exactly where my drop should be. And then he's going to walk his steps. So we're going to do 50 of these. They're going to be slow and they're going to be measured. Notice how he keeps that left foot. His right foot's on the line. That's okay. I would ideally like his left foot against the line so he could walk his steps and we can see if that left foot is crossing over. I don't mind if the right foot gets a little bit closer, but what I really don't want is that left foot to get too close to his right leg. So then we'll go full speed after that. So after 50 reps, I will fire the ball at him and he's going to go as fast as he can. I think one of the common errors, the number one problems for your specialists is that when they do drills, or it drops specifically, they'll do it in slow motion. And then you get in a game situation and they haven't gone fast. Now it's really ramping up for them. Another drill you can do with your guys, laces spaces, all right? So really the idea here is we're getting them to study where they catch the ball at, all right? So you heard him say laces there. If the laces are anywhere from, we'll say about 10 to 2 o'clock, we say laces. If the laces are on the underside, we say spaces. So it's on him to really notice here, is it laces or is it spaces? You can get your punters together, have them play this game for hours.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Spaces.
So that one was close. That's why Carson's smiling so hard. All right, and then across the line. So now we're putting it all together. I'm telling you guys, I mean, especially for punters at the high school level, if they're going to punt, it should almost always be in a line. Now, I understand, when you are in practice, you're moving the ball around, you're actually hitting punts. But really important, like I said, for this left leg, do not cross over here. So ideally, we'd like Carson's left foot against the line, his right foot outside of the line. Yeah. And that's how it should look, right down the line. Everything should be linear. He's gonna tear it up this season. I'm very excited to see him. He's a 6-year senior. He started the last 2-3 years. Okay, now we're gonna talk about field goal drills. Okay, field goal drills. A lot of different stuff you can do. And in my mind, I was thinking, what is the best things I need to show you guys? All right. Well, what's the most important thing in field goal? We said it a little bit earlier. Contact. Making good contact with the ball. All right. So we're going to really rep this. This is called goalpost kicks or contact kicks. There is no goalpost. If you have a goalpost pad, have your guys do 50 of these each day. And then also make sure you do them on both legs too. You don't have to do as many, but we want to make sure we keep that body balanced out. We'll talk about that a little bit later. So this is goalpost kicks. We want to make sure he's feeling the contact. Now there's 3 different ways that you can make contact with your ankle. This is more open, where that toe is pointing to the sidelines. It can be intermediate, where it can be slightly rolled over more, or it can be closed or plantar, and that quad is doing most of the work here. That you get the most power from being a plantar kicker or a closed kicker, but it's the hardest to be accurate with. A lot of guys are in between. Dylan is a wedge kicker, which means he's totally open. He's using more of that groin, which is more consistent, but potentially troublesome. So we got to be really detailed with his plant foot and making sure we're strengthening all those muscles down there. But that's how we want him to hit the ball, right in that inside panel. That is the sweet spot there, about a third of the way up the ball. Then we're going to do 1 step and 2 steps. So now what you really want to do with your guys is break down their swing, right? And allow them, okay, we were just focused on contact. Now we're going to step back and we're going to do a 1 step. The video is Dylan doing a 2 step here. But there's a lot of different ways to find your 1 step. The one I commonly do is I'll do a full step kick. I'll go jab, right foot, left foot. It goes jab, drive step, and then plant step. Okay. Have someone watch, and wherever that drive step comes down at, that's where he's going to start next time. And he's just going to roll in and do his 1 step. Okay. But here's an example of working across the field. We're trying to hit the ball over the goalpost, and he's doing a 2 step here. So the goal here is we're trying to swing right down that line, and we're trying to break down the swing. And then we can also work at the goalpost. So this is a drill I like to do. Now we're on the field. We're aiming for that top very part of the goalpost. Now, question for you guys. If you were a kicker here, what would you be aiming for if you're trying to hit it over the left goalpost? Coach 𝐏𝐫𝐚𝐜𝐿, you got an idea?
I don't see the flags moving, so would I aim it right at the goalpost?
Yeah, at the top. Is there any other specific things you see on the scoreboard you might aim at?
The H.
That H, right? Exactly. Great, Coach Nibble. If you can find a letter, I would even say up here, I'm trying to, aim for a bar up there. Finding something on that scoreboard to help you guys aim for it. And we'll walk through, if we're playing an away game, we'll go walk through before the game, line up on the hash and say, all right, I think if we're on the left hash, I'm going to aim at that U. Or if I'm on the right hash, I'm going to aim at that L, and give those guys specific aiming points. But this is a fun drill, trying to hit it over the top of the goalpost. He does not hit it that high in this one, but hits it at the goalpost. Okay. A few more field goal drills. All right. So at the high school level, we know that the snapping and holding is less than ideal, right? And you guys are changing that, though. You're paying attention to them. You're going to work with them before and after practice. However, we need to prepare our kickers for when they get bad snaps. This is something, again, working with Dave. I got this one is actually a bad snap field goal. So think high snap, all right, and your kicker has to jab. Now he's got to balance, hold it for a second, and then hit a good ball. Let's go back. Let's show that. Notice the balance?
Yeah.
Good. So he jabs, he bounces, he holds his water, because a lot of guys in a game, bad snap, right? They'll freak out. Now they're stuttering, their steps are off. No, we're going to rep this. We're going to rep it once every 2 weeks. We're going to hit 5 to 10 balls like this, but we're going to rep this and we're going to be ready in case this happens. You guys with me on that? Okay, here's another drill. All right, this is a Nick Novak. I like this one a lot. Towel drill. Okay, so holding the towel above the ball, and this is for sometimes you get a snap. Say you're Dylan Lynch here. You're a left-footed kicker. You're kicking from the right hash, and that holder has his hand out, and all of a sudden the snapper screws up, and now that ball's in his chest. Well, as a kicker now, if you're here and the holder's here, you can't see that ball. So you've got to trust and believe that he's going to get that ball down, and it does make a huge impact. Now, I can't stand when kickers say, well, it was a bad hold, it was a crappy hold. No, you got to take ownership, because at the end of the day, that's on you. However, we're going to take ownership. We're going to train this. A, make sure the snappers don't snap a bad ball, and B, make sure the kickers are ready. That's the towel drill. And then we got the bad hold drill. So again, once every 2 weeks, you might do this with your guys. You're going to tilt that ball in all different directions. They still got to hit that sweet spot. Where's the sweet spot? It's about a third of the way up there. Yep, on the inside panel. Okay.
Yeah, talking Fred. Our coach is gonna tell you.
Too much tomfoolery. There you go. All right. Here you go. Carson's. I was asked about a few holding drills. Carson's going to talk you guys through rapid fire holds.
This drill is kind of just rapid fire holds. Just working on drilling the spot right here. Just working on the fine details. And this is an easy drill you can do for the beginning or end of practice.
So you could get one of your specialists to underhand it. And we're trying to go as fast as possible. No cadence.
Good. No cadence. Keep going.
He's trying to hit that inside part. So I'd like you to be a little bit faster than that, but you can have someone there. You as a coach can be boom, boom, boom. Don't let them get set up. Let him get his finger in. Again, we're trying to find that very fine corner, as detailed as we can be, because if that ball is over here, that's going to change where the kicker makes connection with the ball. You guys with me on that? I'll show it one more time.
This drill is kind of just rapid fire. I'm just working on the beginning or end of practice. White, T10.
Good. Next one. Good. No cadence. Keep going.
But this drill.
Good. All right. Now we're to everyone's favorite, the snapping portion. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the snappers here. How am I doing on time? All right. Got to ramp it up a little bit. Okay. Scoot snaps. All right. So there's a couple parts to a snap, but if I can be in the most basic way or form, scoot snaps, we can break snapping down to the chin goes first and the core activates, the elbows drive, and the hands fall through, all right? And that chin and that core is pushing your hips back and incorporating your lower body into it. So here's an example of a snapper using his lower body to snap the ball. See, he's really working on that crunch. I'd like him to dig his chin a little bit deeper, but he's working on the core and that crunch part so he can incorporate his legs. Now, Mike is going to talk about straight leg snaps.
This is the straight leg snap. This takes out your legs, so it just isolates your follow through your arms. So it's a regular snap between your legs.
We're just working the upper body now. He drives that chin, the core, and he's throwing his hands. Okay, Nick, Our long snappers are now going to talk about softball roll. Now we're focused. We've done the chin, we've done the core and the elbows. Now we're going to work on our hands and going directly back at our target.
It gives you confirmation by using a softball instead of just going on air. What you're going to do. Also, when doing this drill, if your ball tends to drift left or right, that means you're not finishing following through and having a complete balance.
Right, because when we follow through, right, we want both of our hands to go directly back evenly. Look how even with his thumbs up he is at his aiming point. Okay, now we're going to focus on the follow through, this last portion when it comes to the snapping, all right, the follow through for our snappers.
This next drill works on having violent hands and finishing balanced in a quick motion.
Nick's going to pull through his hand so he can really fall through. We tell our snappers, make sure your hands are like bullets and you're trying to throw them through the punter's hip, all right? Or they're like, you want to see down the shotgun barrel, which is formed by both those hands directly at your target. Here's one where they're going to work on having violent hands and hit the football.
This is the same drill but we added the ball. So the objective here is to hit the ball out of the hands of your partner, violent hands.
Explosive. That boy's explosive. All right, so tell me about it. What did we learn here? Keys to win. What is something on punt what is a drill that can help your guys, and what are you going to do with your guys? What's important to those guys?
Well, coach, besides making my back a whole lot better, next time that's as a 43-year-old man, I think that might be the best thing I take from it. And that's not a knock on everything else that I learned, but being able to get out of bed a little bit better is always good. But I liked how you talked about linear, keeping everything linear and just using those lines to, keep your feet, from crossing over and everything.
Huge for young guys. I love that. That's good. Yep. So some drills you can do that is catch and mold, walk across the field, and then hands. We're always trying to work our hands, whether it's jugs, we're throwing underhand, laces in space is good. What about field goal?
Finding a target besides just the goalposts.
100%. 100%. Coach 𝐒𝐫𝐚𝐜𝐿, you have something too?
No, he stole mine.
Coach Nibble, you got anything?
Just consistent contact. Repetitive motion over and over and over again.
Yep. As many of those dry runs, your swings, working that contact, also working your follow through and momentum out the upright. That's really good. And then snapping, what do we get from snapping?
Violent hands.
I love that. Love violent hands.
Even hands.
And even, right? Yep. Having our thumbs up, making sure they're falling through evenly. A lot of times when you guys get those bad rotational balls from your snappers, it's because their hands aren't even there. All right. And then real quick, here's my last thing here before I open up for some Q&A and any questions. This is just an example we talked about, or had a few coaches ask, like, what do you guys do on a weekly basis? This is a schedule I've used in the past. We actually practice on Sunday, and a lot of this might not mean anything to you, but what I did do is I tallied up during a normal work week. All right. During the season, this is how we disperse our practice, our drills. Our Monday or Sunday, we do one main drill for everything. Net drill, I will show you guys. It's a coverage drill. Punt return, we do work on the harass phase, working down the field. Kickoff return, we get into groups, and same thing with kickoff. We do a lot of punt, obviously, kickoff return. Hey, anytime before practice, I know a question came up with their snappers and holders. If you can, steal 10 to 15 reps as soon as your snapper and holder comes out there, I know he must play a different position. But if you can get those reps and then have the kickers dry run, they don't have to hit the ball, but they work on their timing and seeing the ball. That's huge for your guys. Also, get your up backs out there. Get your back line kickoff return guys out there and work on hitting skies and squibs to them with your other kicker, all right? So what that's going to do is your kicker can get really good at working his trick kicks or his surprise kicks or his squibs. And then also they'll get good at fielding the ball, which will benefit you too. And then Wednesday would be a kickoff, punt return, and we were lucky we got 20 minutes on Wednesday here, so we'd work in some situational stuff. And then your Thursday was a review day where you go through everything, your surprise stuff, your fake stuff, and then Friday would be a walkthrough. So questions, Q&A. I got a few video clips I can share drill-wise, or we can, you guys can hit me with some questions.
I got a question, Coach.
Yes,
When you're
sir.
talking back at the beginning about splitting up reps, at specific points during the year, for example, like you talked about from March to I think it was July, doing it 3 times a week, 35 to 50 kicks.
Yep.
Like we're practicing 5 days a week right now. Can I divide that up into 5 days, or does it need to be 3 times a week and tell them like, hey, the other two, you're not hitting any, and you're
Yeah.
working drops, dry runs, contact, that sort of thing.
There's a lot of stuff you can do. How many spring practices you guys have? Is it like college where you have 15
Yeah,
or is it?
we have. Let's see. I actually have my schedule right here. We have
Mhm.
outside of 2 scrimmages, we have like 11 to 12 total practices.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great question, Coach Niblet. What you can do is A, you can leave it up to them, or B, you can talk with those guys. This cool thing at UC Davis, what we would do is we'd have a heavy day and a light day. So
Yeah.
on our heavy days, we're getting after it. We were hitting the max, maybe we hit 35 to 40. And then on the low days, we would do 10 to 15 reps or 20 reps. But now, just like you're saying, we're doing some full body strengthening stuff. We're doing some proprioception stuff. We're doing sprints. We're doing core. We're doing yoga. There's a lot of stuff you can do out there with those guys if you just give them a schedule. What I like to do is honestly give them a menu that they can choose from. You know what I mean?
All right. And then there were a couple of drills on there like punt darts, punt pass, and H drill. Would love to know what those are. And then also, is there any possibility the specific drill recordings, will we be able to get those in any form or
Yeah,
fashion?
absolutely. I can send you. If you guys hit me up after, I can send you the PowerPoint. Punt darts and punt pass. Punt pass is 7 yards away, and we're just working on the contact. They're doing a 1-step, and they have the ball out in front of them, and they're just hitting on a line, working that contact. They're not swinging up and through, but they're really working that ankle being down,
Okay.
locked out and down. And then punt darts was what I was talking about earlier, where you're 1-stepping, and we're not trying to hit a high 4.5, 5.0 punt. We're hitting a line drive, but we want to see that ball turn out and fade away from the punter. He's not swinging across his body to make that happen. He's keeping his ankle locked out, and he's kind of just driving a line drive. That's how a lot of guys start and warm up.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Good questions.
To add to Coach Niblet's question, and those kick counts, would you're counting your like no steps and everything in those, correct?
No, I'm actually not. So, you're saying actually contact with the ball when you're hitting no
Yeah,
step?
sir. So I do a lot of like no steps and 1-steps with my guys. So add those into that rep
Yeah.
number.
Yeah, I do. Anytime they make contact with the ball, we would. But yeah, you can kind of, it's more the hip, right? When we're diving in, when we're kicking field goal, we're really digging in there. Like you're gonna feel that more on a full step than you would a no step. So you just kind of, balance it with your guys. That's a general count, but talk with your guys and say, hey, what sounds like a good amount of reps? And then if you can keep track of that, or if you work with them all the time, Coach, it's going to do numbers, and it's going to allow them to last maybe less in the spring. You can really get after it with them in the spring, but in the fall is when we really need to be, detailed with those reps.
I got you. And then one more question. I got a new kicker soccer goalie who I'm really working on. I got him
Nice.
on a 2-inch block right now. Where would you say that plant foot should be no deeper than that block? Probably. He's really
Yeah.
consistent with that. And I've been trying to break it down into 1-steps, just getting his plant foot consistent, but he's very inconsistent. And also, like I said, I'm not exactly sure where that plant foot should be.
Yeah. So it's different with a 2-inch block. You can almost be farther back because it's going to give you that height. So ideally you want kicking from the ground, you want your ankle bone to be in line with that football. Does that make sense? So you could be even farther back. Your toe could be aligned with that football. Wherever it is, it's got to be the same every time. So that's good that you're noticing that, and keep watching that. Now, a lot of that is jab length, right? Like if he takes a long jab, then it's going to be inconsistent and it's going to change over time. So be aware of that stuff. Put tape down to make sure you can tell every time how far back his steps are and over. But yeah, he doesn't have to be too deep because he's on that 2-inch block. Now, as he goes on and gets better and doesn't use that, then he can get a little bit deeper. That's a good question, though. All right, you guys want me to head to the video portion? I know we're going a little bit long.
Any more questions for Coach before he gets the videos rolling?
And you guys can always, hold it, ask me at the end. All right, can you see this video here?
Yep, got it.
All right. So like I said, so a few coaches talked about or asked questions about, what is some stuff that you do in practice with these guys? How can we really install it? This is punt half line competition. This is when I was at Marshall 2020 during the COVID year. You can see by my sweet mask here, and Coach Holiday wearing his heavy duty mask. But yeah, this is really cool. I'm a firm believer, guys. I've been in places where we break it down. All right, everyone get in the line, and we're going to take one step here. I'm all about getting as many reps as possible and lining guys up and getting a ton of reps. But at the end of the day, we need full speed game reps, full speed decisions, which is a big thing that Coach Baxter hits on here. So this is at Marshall, but everyone's working their technique. And this might be day one. We might have barely even installed it. But what you can do is go back and teach off the film and see what we're really lacking by watching this. But this is a full speed competition. These two are trying to get after and block the punt. All right. It's like a 4-on-3. Come on now, video. And then we're full speed covering down the field too. So everyone's working their technique, but what they are getting is valuable reps. A lot of these reps can't be replicated in a or in a practice situation. So they might only get 2 reps during this drill in a 5 to 10 minute period, but we're going full speed and everyone's getting after it, and then we'll score it after. But generally, whenever you can make things competitions, then we'll go from the other side. So we're getting as many reps as possible. But again, it's a 4-on-3 competition. Not sure why it's so laggy there, but they are full speed covering down the field. So that's a good punt versus punt return competition that not only did we do it once and twice, we did it almost every day when we were installing the springtime. All right. Now, again, punt return, we want to do things at a full speed clip. The reason I like this, again, I like to make it as game-like as possible. The reason I like this drill is we changed the launch locations or the block locations. So I would like it if the punt team player goes down a little bit faster. But you can tell we're screaming as hard as we can to that launch point, which is 11 yards away. I'd like the shield to give more of a block, but now we move it, right? So now we might be playing a rugby team. So now we're going to give them a different location and show them how to block a rugby punt. All right. And now we're talking about the harass phase or down the field and punt return. And this is called the in phase drill. So now they're 1 by 1 off the punt player, the punt return team is, and they're working different techniques, whether it's box out, grab and wrap, understanding their relation to the returner here and what they need to do. Again, every drill we do is full speed as fast as we can. We don't really do the walkthrough stuff. I think there's some value there for teaching, but at the end of the day, once you teach it, maybe after the first time, you want to be going full speed. Let me check and see. Okay, yeah. Here's an end zone shot. Working boxing out, right, or finishing near the returner. Guys, this is where you're going to win most of your returns. Fresno State last season. I'm very fired up to be here. We had the #1 punt return team in the nation last year. It took 2 touchdowns back, and I can tell you that it's always about finishing your blocks just from studying them without me even knowing anything about their punt return team. You have to finish blocks around the returner. It really doesn't matter. I know people talk about the 10-second rodeo and all that. As long as you can finish blocks around the returner and make things happen, you're good. Now, this is out of phase. Now they're 5 yards away from the punt team player. The guy in the front is the punt team player. 5 yards away is the punt return team player. If he can make it there, he's going to try to make it and meet him at the junction point or the midpoint, right? If he can't make it, the punt return player is going to put his foot in the ground and go find work. You can never be wrong if you go and find work, all right? I'm not big on I do love net drills. I love working the coverage aspect. Your guys have to know this. I'm not big on the walking around. Sometimes you can hold people up to get a different look. But what I do love about this drill is the gunners are working their way down the field. They're taking a shot. They're understanding when they have to take a shot, where they have to go to cross face, and then you got the net. And what we're also going to work is that returner widening, everyone understanding they have to get width and depth if the ball goes away from them, and then finishing on the returner. Okay, here's an example of us doing it at Virginia Tech. Really love this drill. This is good for kickoff. This is good for punt. But again, it's that understanding when the ball goes away from me, I've got to get width and depth, allow myself to have a chance to make a play on the returner. So when the ball comes to me, I'm gonna set that edge. When the ball goes away from me, I'm gonna get width and depth. Here's an example when the ball goes outside. All right. Punt team is covering. I've got to go set the edge. Everyone else, what do they have to do? Fold over the top. But these are, again, full speed drills. We're running as hard as we can, as fast as we can. Crossing face, making the tackle. Okay, this is a speed competition. A lot of teams do something like this, all right? Working kickoff versus kickoff return. Again, full speed, as fast as we can go, all right? We're not working a ton of moves on kickoff. We're not working crossing people over. We're just beating them with pure speed, and we're being fast and doing it fast. This is at UC Davis last year. Here's an example of the kickoff return team win. He's sprinting as fast as he can. He's flipping his hips at the top of the box, and all he has to do is get 2 hands inside, and he wins. All right. So, and then this will be my last thing. I think one of the coaches talked about, hey, how do we install kickoff return stuff? So this is like a scout team, the kickoff team. Kickoff return is live. The 1, 2, and 3, and then the backside should be just the backside 1 is working against the right side. So it's like pods, it's like group work, but the return team is going full speed as fast as they can, and they're running the return. Okay, now we're going to go the L4, L5, and the R5, and then also the safety on the backside is running it. And now the middle of our kickoff return team is running our return. There's no jogging. There's no half-assing. You're going full speed as fast as you can. Now we're working the backside of kickoff return. So we have returners. This is all scripted. We're going to hop them up and make them all go full speed. Now, here we go. It's full group, and we're repping the return or the kickoff team we're going to see that week. Not a good kickoff, but we put it all together. So again, I think for me, what I've learned is you need to place an importance on not a ton of reps, but a ton of full speed reps. This is some fundamental stuff you can do, fold techniques where you can put your brakes on and fold when the ball goes away from you. So you can use this on punt. You can use this on kickoff. Here's an example of, when you get within 10 or 15 yards of the returner, you can, button press, get off blocks, do things at a full speed clip. So that's all I got as far as video stuff and special teams protection and coverage stuff. Any questions?
Hey, Coach, I got one. So tomorrow we're starting punt pods for the first time, and I'm working with the Shield.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to do a great job of just making sure that they really visualize the launch point, like really understand like this is a point that they can't get to.
Yep.
So what do you think is the best way to do? I mean, I got a line strip and everything. Should I put the cone in front that's kind of directly in line where it would be behind, or what do you think?
Yeah, I love the strip that you're talking about. We'd always tell our guys that there's a string attached to your butt to the launch point. So I think it would be really good if you put an orange disc or some type of visual at the exact spot, whether it's 11 yards away, and then have them get lined up in their stance and take a peek and kind of see, where it is so they can understand production wise. But I love having a strip there. And just, visualizing, hey, your ass is on a string to the launch point. That's really good. Love that. Anyone else? Any other questions? I'm an open book, guys.
Anybody got anything for Coach?
Well, cool. My last thing.
What's it like working with John Baxter?
Man, it's pretty cool. Have you heard of him or met him before?
Just being a special teams guy, everybody knows who that is.
Yeah. He's a legend, man. He's very unique. Some people say quirky. I mean, I'm freaking, specialists and special teams. We're all unique and we got our own deals. But he's really brilliant in what he does, and I realize it's more of a teaching thing than anything. You guys are all great teachers. That I think that's one thing that separates coaches is the ability to teach, whether it's using different concepts, using golf, use baseball, use swimming and tennis. If you guys can use different concepts and pull it into your special teams and your specialist work, man, that's going to set you apart. So yeah, it's really cool. He's really good. He'll use, he's big into horses, and he'll use cutting horses to show coming to balance. I mean, he's impressive. So yeah, I'm fired up to be working here.
That's awesome.
Yep. So cool, guys. Well, hey, if you have any questions, this is a little bit of an older slide. You can reach out to me. I'm on Twitter. We're doing the podcast. It's no longer called the Iceman Kicking Podcast, man. We're doing all types of coaches. So got the Iceman podcast here, got the book on our website. But yeah, if you guys are interested or you want the PowerPoint, just holler at me, let me know, and get in touch. I'm always down to talk some ball. Coach 𝐏𝐫𝐚𝐜𝐿 and John, thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to speak with you guys today.
Dude, I loved it. And I'm the one thanking you, man. You killed it today. I mean, there are a lot of people on here that have spoke for us, and we've had some good speakers, but this definitely did not disappoint. It was worth the wait for sure. I know we had gone back and forth a little bit trying to get you on here, and man, that was worth the wait. That was some of the best content yet, man. Awesome job. Thank you. Would you mind kicking the screen share back to me?
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. There you go.
All right. Thanks a lot, Coach. As always, too, guys, we always hang out a little bit after the show, so feel free to hang out. And Coach Arkelian, if you want to stay on with us too, feel free. But thanks for coming and joining the clinic. Come hang out with us again. We try to do this once a month on Sundays. We're getting a nice little following. It's good to see all the familiar faces. And if there's any way we can help your program, go ahead, especially with the recruiting aspect of things. Visit us at coachessuite.com and give us a follow on Twitter. Thanks a lot, guys, for your time. Again, Coach Arkelian, man, that was awesome. Cannot tell you how much I appreciate that. We've been really fortunate with the speakers we've had on here. I feel like we've had some really good ones. People don't know what they're missing, man. That clinic alone should have had 50 plus coaches in here. But the people that are here got some real gold. So I appreciate your time.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I don't care if it's 400, man. It's that Armenian connection. I had to do it for.
Sometimes you got to work the connection. You know what I mean? Hey, you're Armenian, I'm Armenian. Let's help each other out. But I appreciate it. No matter what the reason was, man. Great job. And thanks for being on the show with us today.